14, you're supposed to worry about school, friends, and maybe what you'll wear tomorrow. You're not supposed to worry about taking care of a house, or your 8-year-old brother, or a baby sister who doesn't even know what's happened. But that's where I am now. Mom's gone. They say it was an accident, but that doesn't really matter, does it? Gone is gone. Dad's here, but not really. He sits in his chair, staring at nothing, barely noticing when Alex cries or when Emily won't stop screaming. And I'm the one who has to pick up the pieces, the one who has to keep it together, because if I don't, who will? It started small, the strange things. The first time, I was in the kitchen, trying to make dinner. Emily was crying in her high chair, and I was on the edge of tears myself, trying to get the stupid pasta to boil. And then, out of nowhere, the stove turned off. Just like that. I didn't touch anything. It just turned off. I wanted to believe it was just a glitch. But when I looked over at Emily, she wasn't crying anymore. She was staring past me, her little eyes wide and focused on something behind me. I turned, but there was nothing there, just empty space. But the room felt cold, colder than it should have. At first, I thought it was Mom. I wanted it to be her, watching over us, helping in whatever way she could. But things got worse. Nights were the hardest. Alex had nightmares, waking up screaming for Mom, and I would sit by his bed, trying to comfort him. But sometimes, I would hear something, whispers, soft but clear, coming from the walls. They sounded like Mom, but not quite. There was something wrong with them, something that made the hairs on my arms stand on end. One night, after I finally got Alex to sleep, I went to check on Emily. Her room was dark, the only light coming from the moon outside. But as I stepped in, I saw something that made my blood run cold. There, by her crib, was a shadow. It was shaped like a person, like Mom, but it was wrong. Too tall, too thin, like someone had stretched her out. I froze, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might burst. The shadow didn't move, didn't speak, but I could feel it watching me. It felt like ice on my skin, freezing me in place. And then it leaned over the crib, like it was looking at Emily. I couldn't move, couldn't scream, couldn't do anything but watch. Finally, it faded, disappearing into the darkness, and the room warmed up again. Emily was still asleep, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly, terribly wrong. The whispers got louder after that, and the shadow started appearing more often. Every night, it would be there, standing by the crib, watching Emily. And every night, I would stand in the doorway, too scared to move, too scared to even breathe. I tried to tell Dad, but he wouldn't listen. He just stared at me with those empty eyes and told me I was imagining things. But I knew I wasn't. I knew what I saw, what I felt, and I knew it was getting worse. One night, I woke up to the sound of Emily crying. I rushed to her room, and there it was again, the shadow, leaning over the crib. But this time, it was different. This time, it turned to look at me, and I saw its face. It was Mom, or at least, it looked like her. But her eyes were hollow, her skin pale and lifeless. She didn't speak, but I could feel her anger, her desperation. She wanted Emily. I don't know why, but I could feel it in my bones. I stepped forward, trying to reach for Emily, but the shadow blocked me. The air in the room turned icy, and I felt a cold hand on my arm, gripping me so tightly it hurt. I tried to pull away, but the grip only tightened. I was shaking, tears streaming down my face, as I begged her to stop, to leave Emily alone. But she didn't listen. Instead, she reached into the crib and lifted Emily out, cradling her in those cold, dead arms. Emily stopped crying, her tiny body limp, and for a moment, I thought she was gone. But then, as suddenly as she had appeared, Mom let go. Emily fell back into the crib, and the shadow disappeared, leaving me alone in the freezing room, gasping for breath. I rushed to Emily, checking her over, terrified that something was wrong. But she was fine, still breathing, still warm. But I wasn't. I felt like something had been taken from me, like a part of me had died in that room. The house is quiet now. The whispers have stopped. The shadows are gone, but the emptiness remains. I can't sleep, can't eat, can't do anything but sit by Emily's crib, waiting for Mom to come back. I know she will. She won't stop. She won't leave us alone until she gets what she wants. And I'm scared, so scared, because I don't know how to fight her. I don't know how to protect my brother and sister from her. I just know that I have to, even if it means losing myself in the process.